Welcome to iPen Podcast, Interviews and Conversations. Here we bring entrepreneurs and their business to their audience and communities as well as ours. We welcome and connect with them to share who they are and what they do. Authors, entrepreneurs, we extend the invitation to promote your business here on our podcast and in iPen Magazine. Your article, your story, your promotions, how you can connect with others, a new audience, a quarterly magazine presented online for all to view and subscribe to. For articles, ads, and subscriptions, please contact ipendesigns@gmail.com. For your viewing, you can see past articles, past interviews on www.nanettembuchanan.com. Welcome to the show. Good evening. My name is Nanette Buchanan, and this is iPen Visions Podcast, Interviews and Conversations. And I don't know about you guys, but the weather is changing, the time of the year is changing, and we've already got into, school is open, kids are going back to school, and boom, it's Halloween. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to roll into school good, and now we got the Halloween and the trick-or-treaters and the candy rustlers and all of that stuff going on, and the weather is changing for some of us, and then the weather is playing crazy for others. We don't know what the weather is about to do, but I hope in all of that you don't forget that every Monday we're here at 6:30 p.m. with iPen Podcasts, Interviews and Conversations. And for the last couple of weeks, what we've been doing is talking to different people about the education system and how it's been working in the community, working or not. Are we, subjected to just what they lay out, or what are we doing? Who's raising our kids? Who's teaching our kids? Are we giving up on the village concept? All of that we've been talking about over the last few shows. And tonight is no different. But before we get to that, I've got to bring in my partner in crime, Felice Reeves. She does all of the background work, all of that. Yeah, she's the one that's probably going to have to help me with my trunk or treat with these kids, because I don't know if I'm ready for these kids to be snatching candy off the tables and everything. But she's going to help with that as well as help with tonight's show. So I want to bring her to the stage. Come on up, Felice. Right. How are you, sugar?
My talents no end when it comes to you.
yeah, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta do what we gotta do. And then you gotta stay fluid. That's what they told me. You gotta stay up to date and fluid and all of this stuff. And the thing that I'm loving most about this show, I get to meet all of these exciting people.
I hear you. Well, me too, but also I hear open invitation to come to North Carolina for Halloween. So
for Halloween,
okay,
I'm doing a trunk or treat with our last guest, Margie. Okay. She's doing trunk or treat for the children.
Okay.
And maybe I'm a little naive, but I didn't know trunk or treat was out of the trunk of your car.
Well,
I thought, trunk or treat was a trunk, like coffin, open up, Halloween, the bones and all of that. And I was like, I ain't doing no trunk or treat. Then, the grand woman told me, no, G-Ma, trunk or treat means that you do it out of the back of your car.
Well, there's that version, but most churches or religious organizations, if they do that type of thing, they say trunk or treat as well.
And are they doing it in the parking lot with the cars open, or where are they doing it?
Well, mostly like in their fellowship park, but there are some.
Okay.
That's how it really kind of started.
Yeah, so we're supposed to decorate all of that. So I spent the weekend with the glitter and all of that other stuff, decorating the candy buckets and all of that stuff, getting ready. Yeah. I really, this is not.
Well, you just have to be versatile.
Because you remember in my job, every day was a Halloween.
Well, there you go. And like I said, you have special training that the rest of us mere mortals have not had. So
every day was whether or not it was going to be Halloween. You didn't know whether you had to run for fear of your life or what. But we want to bring attention, or continue bringing our attention to the education of our youth.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to misinterpret what I'm saying. We're
Mhm.
not talking about just the teaching. We're not talking about just what teachers offer or teachers give, or how the students make assessments in their testing.
Mhm.
What we're talking about is from the home,
Yeah. The
from the
education
womb,
that they get.
education, basic education.
Education that they
So
get.
tonight is really, really, really special because we're
Mm.
talking about the disabilities that youth face and youth have to deal with, that some children don't have to deal with, some
Oh yeah,
families don't have to deal with, some
absolutely.
educators don't have to deal with. They're,
Yeah.
they have different classes and different things, but we're
Mhm.
talking to someone who really knows
Yeah.
what it is, and has really, really, really been a part of trying to educate
Yeah.
families,
Mhm.
the village, as we call it, the community, and educate those that are teaching,
Mm.
what it's like to not be looked at because of the disabilities, or
Right.
because of the lack of sources, or
Mhm.
because of the lack of different things. And in this time that we're going through in America,
Mhm.
and across the world, really,
Yeah.
in this day and age, we really, really, really have to be mindful
Mhm.
of those that are not
Yeah.
considered, valuable.
Yeah.
And to me, all life is valuable. All life is,
Absolutely.
everyone's life is
Absolutely.
and their education is even more valuable.
Sure.
That they know how to be independent, that they
Mhm.
know how to excel, that they know that they have a purpose, that they understand that, all you need is that little push. And we don't mean pushing over and bullying and all of that stuff. We
No.
mean really all you need to know is that you are a light,
Well,
regardless to where you come from, what you have, what you don't have, or how you are. But
mhm.
Latrea Russ is a disability empowerment coach.
Mm.
And that to me just told me disability and empowerment.
Mhm.
How different is that in most people's eyes?
Yes,
Most
in the
people
eyes.
automatically look at the disability and say, how are you empowered? You're
Right.
not empowered if you got a
Yeah.
disability.
Yeah.
You can't be empowered if you got a disability. If
Mm.
you're not able to do this, then you're not able to do that.
Mm.
So to be an empowerment coach and to be an
Mhm.
author and a speaker and everything else, and I'm gonna let her, we're gonna do what we usually do. We're gonna
Mm.
bring her on and
Yeah.
we're gonna let her do what we usually do.
Awesome.
So welcome, welcome, welcome to the stage, Miss Latrea Russ. Good evening, my dear. How are you?
Yay.
Good evening, good evening. How are you
Welcome.
guys?
Well,
Y'all be having a lot of fun on here, I see.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Y'all
yes,
be
we
having
do.
so fun on here.
Yes.
Yep,
And you know
yep,
what?
yep.
We like it that way because I'm not one to watch talk shows with the question answer, because a
hmm
lot of times the question and answer doesn't allow the guest
Mm-hmm.
or the person presenting the questions, because they got a little bell over their head, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it doesn't allow one to really say what they mean.
hmm
And on our show, we're trying to connect and network so that everybody understands when you leave tonight, if they need something from you, from what you've told us, they can get it
Yeah.
because they don't have to guess who you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that brings me to the first thing that we do. We don't introduce our guests. I
Mm-hmm.
told a little tidbit about who you are and everything, but we don't do that. We don't do that. So I'm going to do what we normally do. Miss
Mm-hmm.
Russ, would you please honor us with telling us who you are?
Oh, who is Latria Russ?
Yes,
Interesting
Yes,
question.
yes.
that's the question.
Woo. Woo, that's a loaded question. How much time you got?
Well,
Listen, if you get
yeah.
look, the other thing that we love about this is if you get too good, we might be on here for a minute.
So true. So true. So it's all up to you
Okay.
how long you're
All
going to
right.
be here.
Okay, let me see. Who is Latria Russ? Latria Russ is a wife of 4 years. She's a mother. She is a pre-K teacher. She is a disability advocate.
Yeah.
Um, she's a woman. A woman that wears many hats, as you can see. But to the core of who she is a woman trying to make a difference, trying to make a difference one disabled person at a time. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but in reality, that's really all I'm trying to do. And not so much one disabled person at a time, one disabled child at a time.
Right.
I
Okay.
feel like, and I tell people this all the time, that if we can teach disabled children to value who they are
Sure.
when they are children,
Mm-hmm.
they will then value who they are when they are adults.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
not going to be able to tell them anything when they're adults. You're not going to
Mhm.
be able to tell them what they can and can't do. You're
Yeah.
not going to be able to tell them what they're capable of. You're not
Mhm.
going to be able to tell them what they're not capable of. You're not
Mhm.
going to be able to tell them any of those negative things when they become adults. But the key is to be able to tap into that when they're children, when their
Mhm.
minds are open and able
Mm-hmm.
to receive what you're saying. Because as we know, children are like sponges. They
Yeah.
soak up
Mm-hmm.
and they soak up
Mhm.
whatever you say.
Yeah.
The same way they soak up the positive, they
Mhm.
also soak up the negative as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So
For
Mm-hmm.
that is why we have to make sure that we're speaking positivity into them.
Mhm.
We're talking about what they can do. We're focusing on what they can do. Now, we are being realistic. I want to put that out there because a lot of times people get confused when I say we're speaking positivity in it. Yes, but at the same time, we're also being realistic about their challenges. We're also being
Mm-hmm.
realistic about, okay, yeah, you may not do that so well. Okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, you may not do that so well. And that's okay. That's
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Everybody can't do everything. So
Mm-hmm.
let's focus on what you can do. Let's
Yeah.
focus on who you are over here
Yeah.
versus
Mm-hmm.
who you're not over there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that is who Latrea Russ is.
Very good.
Very good, very good. And you being the founder of, I think the just the wording in your organization, being the founder of More Than My Disability, says more than what most parents. And I don't want people to think that this show or anything that we say on our show is to criticize anyone for what they do, what they don't do, what they know, or what they don't know. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're opening up more education. We're giving you a little bit more. It may be an entirely different view. You may look at it and say, well, goodness, I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do. We want to open your eyes to a new way of looking at something that has existed for eons.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a generation of people in all of civilization that have gone where someone has not had a disability.
Mhm.
You know, that is so true.
Right.
And I'm
I
going to tell you why that's true because even if you go back and I just want to put this out there first. I'm not I am spiritual, but I don't want to make this a religious thing, but I do
right.
want to draw attention to this.
Yeah.
If you go back into the Bible, there
Mm-hmm.
are places in the Bible where
Mhm.
disability shows up.
Sure.
You
Mm-hmm.
got the lame man, you
Yeah.
got the blind man,
Very
you
good.
Mm-hmm.
got Moses.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people don't really look at Moses, but Moses was slow to speak. He had
Yeah.
a speech impediment. People
Mhm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
realize that that's what was
Yeah.
going on when he went to God and told God that he couldn't go free the people from the Israelites. He said,
Yeah.
"I'm slow to speak."
Yeah.
That is interpreted as a speech impediment. So there's a
Mhm.
lot
Mm-hmm.
of different
Yeah.
examples in the Bible that we can go to when we're talking about disability and
Yeah.
as it relates to just overall man.
Uh-huh.
Right,
I love it.
right, right.
Never spoke-
And that's the part that I want everyone to understand when they view this. If they're on tonight, thank you for joining in. But we want you to understand that this is not something to point a finger. We are
Mhm.
not pointing a finger. We are not saying because people are disabled they should. We're
Mhm.
not we're not doing that. What we're saying is the highway in life is so wide. There's so many lanes on the highway in life Don't think that you, a relative, your children, or anyone with a disability doesn't have a lane. There's a lane in living and in life and in this journey for everyone. Everyone has a lane.
That is
And we're
true.
not saying that just because you have a disability, you can't come over into the education lane, or that you can't go into the sports lane, or you can't go into the elevation lane, or you can't. We're not doing that. What we're saying is disability with children, especially the focus, like I said, the focus this month is on children. The problem that I have is don't diagnose your child and lock them down. Don't let the diagnosis
Yeah.
be the hindrance.
Come
Don't
on
let
now.
don't let the diagnosis be the wall, and
Yeah.
you
Right.
tell them that they got to stay in this box because
Right.
they have a diagnosis. So
Right.
that's why I
Right.
said that the thing about it is when you say disability empowerment,
Mm-hmm.
most people would look at that and say, well, wait a minute. There's no
Right.
way in the world
Right.
that,
Right.
that, that disability can empower anyone. It should
Right.
not, it should not only empower the person with the disability, but it should also empower us without the disability.
Right. And it's funny that you had mentioned that about the diagnosis and about how we allow the diagnosis to keep us in a box. I did a video, and I don't know if you saw it or not, it was on my Facebook
Mhm.
page. I did a video talking about how we have to, as parents of children with disabilities, we have to not be afraid to push our children. We
Yeah.
have to not be afraid to push them where you know. 'Cause I tell my parents this all the time. As a parent, you inherently know what your child's skill sets are, just because
Mhm.
you're the parent, and you just kind of know. And you know what your child can do, and you know what your child can't do. Now, every now and again, we might get it wrong here and there because we're
Sure.
only human. But
Sure.
for the most part, you know what your child is capable of and what your child is not capable of. So
Mhm.
having that information allows you to set your child up for success.
Yeah.
Having that information allows you to put your child on a course for success.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And when I say that, and I use myself as an example, I remember when I was in high school getting ready for the middle school. And at the time I was in foster care, but great I had a great foster family.
Oh,
I
nice,
did.
nice.
And what that in that particular situation, there were other situations, but I digress.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, they knew I was smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mhm.
they knew I was smart. So
Mm-hmm.
when you get to a certain point in school,
Mm-hmm.
there's two courses, there's two lanes that you can go. You can go the
Mm-hmm.
college route, or
Mm-hmm.
you can go the technical route.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
technical.
sorry. I'm sorry.
You know what she shows right now? I'm kidding.
Oh my God, yes, that was very technical. But nonetheless, you can go the technical route or you can go the college route.
Yeah.
So when you go the technical route, they put you in like these crazy classes just to kind of fill your day up. Basket
Mm. Mhm.
weaving, pillow stuffing, this little stuff, to keep your hands busy.
Yeah.
And so I remember we had our middle of the year IEP meeting. Well, because we were planning for
Mhm.
the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed them a list of classes that they wanted me to take. They had basket weaving. They had something related to PE.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bunch of crazy. I'm not gonna say crazy because those classes work for certain people, but
Right.
they
Right.
didn't work for me.
Right.
So
Sure.
I never want to put a bad stain
Yeah.
on those type of classes because they
Sure.
work for who they work for.
Right.
So
Okay.
I remember my mother. I think it was my mother, my mom, my adopted mom, and my adopted dad. One of them stood up and said, "No, she's not going into those classes.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Mhm.
preparing her to go to college.
Yeah.
We're pushing her towards college.
Mm-hmm.
We know that she is smart enough,
Mm-hmm.
despite what you might see. She
Yeah.
is smart enough to go to college. She is smart
Mm-hmm.
enough to make it in college. So that
Mm-hmm.
is what the track that we're trying to put her on. That
Mm-hmm.
is the track that we're trying to set her up for.
Yeah.
They
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't accept nothing less from me. If I
Sure.
did it wrong, it got
Mm-hmm.
torn up. I had to do it again. If I
Mm-hmm.
make,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't like making a mistake and you have to do it all over again. No, if I'm sitting there and I'm rushing through something and I know the answers, but I'm rushing through it to just to get it done,
Right.
I have to do it again.
Right.
They push me.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
push me to that point. And
Mm-hmm.
because they push me, not only
Mm-hmm.
do I have one degree, I have
Mm.
two.
Oh, very
Mm-hmm.
good. Well,
Mm-hmm.
kudos to
So
your parents, because
yes,
that's
I want that to be a testament to
yeah.
what
Mm-hmm.
your children can do when
Right.
you stop being afraid to push them, when
Yeah.
you stop allowing the diagnosis to determine where they're going to go, when
Yeah.
you stop
Mm-hmm.
allowing the diagnosis to determine your life, not
Yeah.
only your life, but their life too.
Right.
Right,
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely. Wow.
So now let me just ask you this. When and I'm just saying this from, like I said, I don't have a child that's disabled. I do have family members that have had, IEP, they have to go
Hmm.
get their IEPs done for
Hmm.
slow learning. And then I have another one who was overboard and he had to go get his IEP done because he didn't fit in class. And, you
Hmm.
know, everybody has their levels and this, that, and other. And the thing that I realized was that the children that are exceptional have as many problems, if not more,
Yeah.
than the children that have a slower reception. They're slow learners or whatever. But the disabilities that we see on those planes are not the same as those with the physical disabilities or the physical inability to do or the physical fortitude. To me, it just seemed like to me, and I the only way that I can explain it so that our audience would understand as well is the children that are in the Olympics, the Special Olympics,
Oh,
those that are in the Special Olympics and they take on sports and they take on different challenges and they take on different things, they don't let anything stop them from performing.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
They don't stop. They excel because they want to do, whatever the sport is, they want to be involved in that sport and they push.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you is, why don't we have that same enthusiasm, like you said, with people with the IEPs and people making sure that they're being pushed and not just diagnosed and put into a corner? Why don't they have the same enthusiasm when it comes to physical disabilities or mental disabilities or health disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they have the same enthusiasm to push them to, like you said, your parents did, push them to the max to make sure they achieve?
Mm.
What are some of the
Well,
struggles that you've gotten from some of the parents?
I can give you the politically correct answer, or I can give you my interpretation. Which one do
Well,
you want?
I'm really not a political person, and you can make
Okay,
go
good,
way off on
good,
another tangent because I
good,
ain't.
good, 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 good. Okay, okay. Well, now that means I can be real. Okay,
Mhm.
let me tell you
Please.
something. I'm not a big proponent of Special Olympics. And for those that are watching this that love Special Olympics, that support Special Olympics, wonderful. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing for you. I'm so
Mhm.
happy that you do that for you, but I'm
Mhm.
not a big proponent of it. And let me explain to you why I'm not a big proponent of it. Because for
Mhm.
me, Special Olympics is not the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not the real world. You
Mm-hmm.
don't get a medal just for showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You don't
Right.
get a medal just
Yeah.
because you showed up.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. And
Mm-hmm.
you might lose some viewers when I say this,
Mhm.
but at the end of the day, when all is said and done, you
Mm-hmm.
win or you lose.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, losing doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make you bad. It just means that you didn't do as well that particular time.
Exactly.
Right.
It
Got
Exactly.
doesn't mean that you can't go back and try again,
it.
but
Yeah.
this
Right.
particular time, you
Yeah.
didn't do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Yeah.
that could be for a lot of reasons, but
Mm-hmm.
nevertheless, you didn't do as well, and
Right.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'm not a big proponent of Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, it's funny because my husband, who's a DJ, and he has cerebral palsy, and
Mm-hmm.
he DJs for all the Special Olympics. Um, all the Special Olympics. Yeah, funny how that works. He
I
DJs
love it.
for all the Special Olympics things that we have here in town, and I
Uh-huh.
never go. I never go with him. And he knows why I don't go because he knows how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And and he kind of laughs at me when I tell him because that's just how I feel. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
my thing of it is this. This is always my thing. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to people with disabilities, they're not China dolls.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
not little China
Yeah.
dolls that we have to kind of, okay, if we got to be so fragile with them or
Mm-hmm.
they're break. No,
Sure.
no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have now. Let me take this back. There are some people with disabilities that don't handle disappointment as well as others. I
Sure.
got that. I understand that. And that's an
Mm-hmm.
entirely different situation. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about your average disabled person
Yeah.
that comprehends, understands, knows right from wrong, cognitively is on the level, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
They have to understand that, okay, you know what? I'm going to play this sport. I might lose.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make me a bad person. It just means
Yeah.
I didn't do
Mm-hmm.
well today.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take what I get and keep going. I'm going to
Right.
come back, try harder the next time. So,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but to answer your question about why the same energy isn't put into education, because, Lord, I'm about to say something and they're not going to
Go ahead. Say it. Go ahead.
like it.
Tell it, tell it, tell it.
I'm about to. Trust me, I'm about to. Special Olympics is a money game.
Yeah. Sure.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's a
Yes,
money game.
yes, it
Mm-hmm.
is. Yes, it is.
Most of the people that are in Special Olympics,
Mm-hmm.
their parents are lawyers,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
doctors,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
um, in the
Yeah.
government,
Yeah.
doing
Mm-hmm.
something that creates a lot of money,
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
brings in a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
And people with a lot of money, what do they
Mm-hmm.
tend to make?
Mm.
Donations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Donations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
money equals donations.
Sure.
Right.
So that is why they had this whole, okay, I don't care if you win or lose, you're going to get a
Yeah.
medal. You
Right.
got to get a medal because mommy and daddy paid for you to
Mm-hmm.
get a medal.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You got to get a medal whether you did well or not because
And
mommy and
and
daddy paid
and
for
that's
you to
the
get a
same
medal.
Mm-hmm.
energy that I'm talking about. That all of the money, all of the resources, all of the whatever to
Mm-hmm.
make that one event a great event, or to
Mm-hmm.
make the events that lead up to it a great
Mm-hmm.
event, are not put into the
Education.
education
Right. Right.
of
It's not.
or the home representation
Mm-hmm.
or the understanding. I had a few people that were coming to me asking me about, you know, what medication the school should be prescribing, and I told them schools don't prescribe medication. What are
No.
you talking about?
No.
And they were telling me that, well, the teacher sent my child home today and said my child was doing, and I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So I would see parents off and on, you know, and they, oh, well, the teacher sent home a note saying that he needed to take more medication. What medication do they want me to give him? No, you don't want to give him
Mm-hmm.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
You want him to be evaluated by a doctor whose
Mm-hmm.
credentials say that
Mm-hmm.
he is able
Right.
to evaluate. You don't want to
Right.
just go on what they say to give your
Right.
child or
And a
what they
lot of
don't say.
times when you have teachers that are diagnosing children that way, that teacher's tired. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
teacher's stressed. That
Right.
teacher has tried everything that teacher knows to try to
And
get
the
through
thing
to
is,
that
and
child.
I'm talking on both sides, Latria. I understand totally that we have some parents that totally are into their children and want the best for their children, and then we have some that are lax. We have
Right.
some foster homes where they have so many foster children they can't pay attention to all of the foster children. We understand all of that. All I'm saying is that in order for these children to turn out and know that my challenge is not a
Doesn't have
challenge
me.
that I can't progress. That my challenge should not be, yeah, it might take me a little longer to do the assignment. It might take me a little more information to complete whatever you're asking me to do. My thing is, I'm not understanding in all of this, there are people such as yourself, such as some of the other children that I know that have gone on with their handicap, and we quote unquote put them in an exceptional realm and say they made it. Yeah, but they made it, so can others. So why
Right.
aren't we pushing what is the holdback? What have you found
Well,
to be
again, the
the holdback?
holdback I would say is the parents, because the thing about it is that a lot of parents, and I, when I'm talking on this thing, I get very passionate about it, but I also
Mhm.
want to be careful because I don't want to group all parents into the
Right,
same boat.
right,
You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? There are
Mhm,
some exceptional parents out there that work day in and day out with their child. But at the
mhm,
same token, there's a group of parents out there that cannot see past their child's disability. They cannot
mm,
see past the diagnosis. They cannot see past what they were told that their child
mhm,
can't do. They
mhm.
never stopped. They never stopped to think for a second. Okay, you listed me this long laundry list of all the things that my child can't do.
Where's
What
the
can
list of
my
what?
child do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
where's the
where's
list
the
of what
list?
they?
Where's the equally
Mhm,
long list of the things that my child can do?
mhm,
Where
mhm.
is the equally long list
Mhm.
of the things that my child can
And see,
and
one
will
thing that I
accomplish?
learned, there are more than 9 ways that a person learns.
Mhm.
They have, that's a
Right,
scientific fact. That
right.
there's people that are visual, there's people that are, all different. There's 9 ways. I'm not even
Mhm.
going to go through all of that, but there's 9 ways that we learn. And for some reason, every IEP comes up with the same way for every child that is diagnosed.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of times with that, and I'm speaking on the culture of education now,
Mm-hmm.
and where we're at with education. We've gotten to a point where teachers are just they're tired, they're burnt out, they're
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and it's like every year you have 4 to 5, and I'm
Mhm.
being generous when I say that,
Sure.
four to
Mm-hmm.
five children that are in a fully populated. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
fully populated, I'm talking anywhere from 21 to
Mhm.
25
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
kids
Mm-hmm.
in a classroom. Okay,
Right.
out
Right.
of that out of that large number, you're
Mhm.
gonna have
At
again
least. At
four to
least.
five, and I'm like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm being generous
Mhm.
there. You're gonna have at least 4 to 5 that are gonna have some sort of a challenge.
Mhm.
Right.
Maybe that challenge
Right.
is documented. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's not.
Yeah.
But
Right.
based on whatever you got going on,
Mhm.
you're gonna have 4 to 5.
Mhm.
Now,
Right.
now we're gonna break this down a little further. Okay, so you got 4 to 5 kids over here that have
Mhm.
a challenge, some sort of a challenge.
Yeah.
Preferably, they got the same challenge.
Mhm.
Right.
If they don't, then that's another layer. Okay,
Sure.
so we got 4 to 5 kids over here that have some sort of a challenge.
Mhm.
Then you got the rest of the population over here that you're trying to educate.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so as a teacher, and you're only one person, okay, they
Right.
they
Right.
stopped they stopped doing the whole aides and paraprofessionals. They stopped doing
Right.
that. They got the buses now. So
Yeah.
you got your one teacher, your 25 kids. Out of the 25 kids, you got 45 that got different challenges. So you're
Mhm.
trying to meet their needs
Sure.
along with meeting the rest of the kids' needs.
Right.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and it's overwhelming.
Mhm.
Right.
It's hard. It's
Mhm.
Right.
difficult. I mean, and then they have that whole differential learning,
Yeah.
meaning that
Right.
you have to teach them find a way to teach them in a way that they understand and a way that they get it. So if
Right.
you're doing differential learning for this group,
Mhm.
then what about this
What about the
large
other
group
group?
over
Right.
here
Yeah.
that doesn't
Right.
necessarily need the differential learning, but
Mhm.
they got to get it too?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So I'm not making excuses for teachers. I'm really not. I just want you to, but I do feel like it's important that people understand from an education perspective of how
Mhm.
difficult this can be. Okay.
Sure.
Right.
And then on top of all of that, a teacher recognizes that a child has a particular challenge. Let's say this child may have ADHD or whatnot.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teacher, you go to that parent and you say, I've been noticing this and I've been noticing that and I've been noticing this. Is this the behavior that they exhibit at home? At least that's how I would approach it.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
And sometimes but you're met back with parents that are giving you all types of grief and
Mhm.
nonsense and kickback, and it's just a whole
Right.
big
Right. Right. Right.
Mhm.
entourage of it. Don't got to be all that. It really don't. I'm trying
Right.
to help your child, but you giving me all this extra stuff. So
Mhm.
Right.
then it becomes the issue of, okay, I don't want to deal with the extra stuff, but I want that child to get what he needs.
Right.
Mhm.
So do I deal with the parent and the extra stuff, or
Mhm.
do I just let that child continue to
Mhm.
go
Right.
on about his business? I mean,
Right.
so you're kind of caught in the middle. So those
Mhm.
are just a lot of different challenges that as teachers we have to deal with within the
Sure.
classroom setting. And when it comes to IEPs, they're just like, you know what? I don't have the strength.
Mhm.
I just don't have the strength anymore. I just don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And a
Right.
lot of times, to believe it or not, there's no training.
Mhm.
There's no
I
Mm.
believe
training
that.
given
I
on
believe
those.
that. On
There's
that
no
point,
there's no
yeah,
training.
yeah.
And,
So,
and, and this stuff is not the same as it was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's no training on this stuff.
Yeah.
And
So,
if you were to go get training, you would have to go on your own.
mm,
You would have to pay for it out of your
Mm.
pocket.
mhm.
Mm.
The
But
schools are not offering training on this.
can I ask two questions? Well, one question real quick. So, for the uneducated, what is the meaning of IUP? Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah, it's called an IEP. It's
What
an
is it?
individual
Evaluation.
individual education program. Oh,
Mm.
no,
I,
individual education plan. I'm sorry.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
IEP, and those are
Yes,
I.
yes.
Mm.
Okay, and then so I'm just trying to figure out from your perspective, um, what do you see better? And I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking first. So sorry. Um, that most of the time with children with disabilities are educated separately from like the normal school curriculum.
Education.
General
Yeah.
population.
Right, and,
Mm-hmm.
and it,
General.
it
Yeah,
makes
okay.
sense in a lot of ways. Like I have a dear friend, her grandson is blind, so he's gone to blind institutions, special schools, and I can
Mm-hmm.
see that he definitely has special needs that most children wouldn't need, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but then how do then you become integrated into to society really because you've been separated in that
Mm-hmm.
education, right? And yes,
Hmm.
he has siblings that are sighted, of course, and he gets some of that, but what if you're an only child that you don't get the sibling thing, and then you become you try to integrate into society, and I'm really saying that for really society more so than the person that is quote unquote has this disability,
Hmm. Hmm.
because society has such a struggle with the acceptance, with the integration,
Mm-hmm.
with the thought process of, yeah, hey, you have to have a ramp to, you know, even if you have an electric wheelchair. I have a friend that
Yeah,
she's
my
with,
husband has one.
and so
Mm-hmm.
it's when her and I go out on outings, it's a whole different mindset for me because I
Mm-hmm.
can walk right into a building without a thought of this and that and the other, right?
Right.
So
And I've had that experience as well. I'm sorry, let me
mhm.
cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead. I know that's why I was asking the question and trying to give you that whole thing around it of how do you
Okay.
feel about the education? Um,
Um, now I've had the experience in which you're talking about because I don't drive.
mhm,
I'm visually impaired.
mhm,
So I have to, if I want to go somewhere, I
mhm.
have to plan my trip out,
Sure.
like from
Mm-hmm.
A to Z. Okay.
Mhm,
I got to figure out where I'm going,
mhm.
what's the correct address.
Sure.
First of all, I need to know if the place is still there.
Right.
Okay. If the
Mhm,
address that you're giving me is that place still at that address.
mhm.
Um, then I have to go because I have to use Uber or Lyft. So I have to make sure I have enough money to Uber or Lyft there. How much is it going to cost me to get there? How much is
Mhm,
it going to cost me to get back?
mhm,
What time I got to be there? What
mhm,
time are they expecting me? So there's a whole process that I
mhm.
have to go through when
Yeah.
the average person can just jump in that car as
Sure.
long as they got gas in it,
Yeah.
crank it up and go.
Mhm.
I can't do that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta basically sit down and write my trip out.
Yeah.
But I
Mm-hmm.
don't complain because that's just the life I was given. It
Right.
is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But to answer your question about integrating back into society
Mhm.
and as it relates to being in a I guess in an inclusional environment,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's up to the parent.
Mhm.
It's up to the parent and guardian because
Mhm.
I know plenty of parents that their children, matter of fact, I know a parent right now. She homeschooled her son. Her
Mhm.
son has autism.
Mhm.
He wasn't talking. He wasn't
Mhm.
doing any of that. He
Mhm.
can talk. He can read now.
Mhm.
And she makes sure she
Mhm.
gets him out.
Yeah.
He goes to Chuck E. Cheese. He goes to Flip and
Mhm.
Fly. He
Yeah.
goes to get ice cream. So she's
Mhm.
always merging him into society
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
that he is used to society and
Mhm.
society is used to him.
Right.
So
That part.
Mm-hmm.
it's a balance thing.
Yeah.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
balance thing. So
Mhm.
when I say it's a
Mm-hmm.
balance thing. So with that being said, it's up to the parent. It's up
Right.
to the parent. It's up to the caregiver. It's up to them to make sure that that
Mhm.
child is emerged into society as much as possible.
Yeah.
They're going to the grocery store. When you go take your child to the grocery store, use it as a teachable moment.
Sure.
And that's something
Mm-hmm.
that I talk about all the time with my parents. Use these outings as teachable moments.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're in the produce aisle. Can
Yeah.
you go get me 4 oranges?
Right.
I want 4 oranges. And
Mhm.
go show me an orange. Or go
Mhm.
get me 4 apples.
Right.
And you use those as teachable moments. Now, not only are you in including them, pushing them into society, you're also teaching them how to function in society, how
Right.
to interact with other people.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
I've
that
had
has to do
parents,
with the education, right? That all of that is education, right?
yes,
You
yes,
know,
Mm-hmm.
it's
all of
not
that is
just in the
education.
classroom it's not just in the classroom setting. It is the life, educating them on how to do life, and we know
Right.
that there are so many miseducation moments because even able-bodied children um, are not educated in life,
Uh-oh.
right? Because, and we talked about this, I think, last week, but, even to the point of, bank accounts, just something
Yes,
simple as that,
yes,
right?
yes,
So,
yes.
so the life, we give them book knowledge and we give them these kind of like scenarios to teach them um, a skill set, but we don't teach them life. We don't. We
No,
don't.
But
we
you know
don't.
what I think? I think the problem for some people, and I know I grew up when the yellow bus, if you got on a yellow bus, you were considered the R word. You were automatically the R
I mean,
word.
the short yellow bus, because
You
in
know,
our
it didn't matter when I was younger. It could be a
oh,
big
okay, because
yellow
I
bus.
was
Ain't
raised
nobody
on
getting on a
the
yellow bus
yellow.
because the yellow bus automatically designated that either
Mm,
you were handicapped
Mm.
mentally or physically.
Oh, okay.
That would, because they had to ride on the bus with an aide who
Mm-hmm.
helped them,
Sure.
get on and off the bus or go
Mm-hmm.
in and out of school. And I lived in an inner city, so we
Mm-hmm.
walked to school. We
Mm.
didn't actually ride buses on the country road or whatever. You just walked a couple of blocks to school.
Okay, got you.
Well, the thing was then, okay, even though they rode on that bus, we knew who they were on that bus.
Mm-hmm.
They were also separated when it came time for classroom.
Mm-hmm.
They had their own classrooms. They might have been in a trailer, or they might have been in a classroom that was in the school building, but they were in their own classroom, their own environment. So they learned how to mix and mingle amongst themselves, even for
Right.
lunch, even for break, even for whatever. However, when it came time for school to let out, they rode their bus home, but in the community, and I think I've said this a couple of times, I loved Walter to death and his family. His mother was an adoptive parent who adopted males and females, but most of them had handicaps.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the majority of them had handicaps. I think she
Mm.
might have had 2 children in the whole household that were able to, function on their own and kind of guide them. Come on, we got to go in. Come on, we got to do that, as children. But they were included.
Mm.
We didn't play a game where we didn't pick them.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do things where we didn't include them, even if we had to take the time to explain it. I can remember as children, we knew they had a handicap. We knew that they weren't as quick as we were, or as quick-witted as we were. We knew and we didn't know what their handicap was. They all the same. They get on the yellow bus,
Right.
and if they get on the yellow bus, you got to take time to talk to them. You got to take time to, if we were going to the store in the middle of a game, if one of the older kids said, "Hey, I'm going to the corner store. Anybody want soda?" Well, we know that they don't have money because they don't know the value of the money. They don't know what to do with the money, but we would all pitch in and get them their soda too. We weren't bullied or bullying the child with the handicap. The child with the handicap didn't feel less than when it came to the peers. Today's society seems to separate them so far and apart that they don't get a chance to integrate. They don't get a chance to be the same. They don't get an opportunity to do that. And that's what I'm saying here with the label that we have here, blending in and support. Where do you get the blending in and support outside of the family that knows that you're a little different? Outside of the teacher that knows you're a little different? We have more bullying now where they're picked on and they're ridiculed and pushed and everything else. But I think it comes from the lack of understanding.
Well, there's a lot of that, but now with the advent of the internet and all of that, there's so much more bullying, even of able-bodied.
Right, but my
all right,
and that's understood. But my point is going back to what Latrea was saying. If we're going to educate them and take those opportunities to educate, we also have to educate the people that are not handicapped.
Yeah, that was my point.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I that's why I allow people to see so much of my life. I give people a bird's eye view of my life because I feel like people need to see me moving and behaving and doing the things that able-bodied people do.
Right.
And I give them a bird's eye view. See, I get up, I go to work, I do all the things that you guys do with my disability. I still get up and I still do it. Now, not to say that I'm the same because I'm not, but to say that when you see a disabled person, don't automatically assume that their life is somehow so drastically different from yours. Is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I go out of my way to give people a bird's eye view of my day to day. I get up, I take a shower, I put my clothes on, I do the same things that you guys do. I get up, I go to work, I work very hard, very long. I come home, I cook dinner. I do the same things that you guys do.
Sure.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
not to say that I'm the same, but to say that just because I am disabled don't
Mm-hmm.
mean that I don't encounter the same problems, the same
Yeah.
issues, the same
Exactly.
trauma, the same
Mm-hmm.
things that you encounter. So if you
Right.
were to go and run into a disabled person, don't automatically assume that because they are disabled or they
Mm-hmm.
have some type of challenge, that
Mm-hmm.
their life is so drastically different from yours,
Right.
because it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the fact that
Absolutely.
it's a woe is me. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's
goodness.
another
Yeah.
one.
Oh
That's
my.
another. That's
Oh,
another. Yeah, and
you
and,
know.
and, and it irks me a little bit, if I can be real,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you automatically assume that because I have a disability, my life is so horrible.
Yeah.
And guess
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what? It is not. I am blessed beyond measure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I am blessed beyond measure.
Mm-hmm.
I get up
Mm-hmm.
every day and I thank God for
Mm-hmm.
everything, the
Yeah.
good,
Mm-hmm.
the bad, the ugly, and
Mm-hmm.
everything in between.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to tell people, no,
Mm-hmm.
please don't feel sorry for me, because
Right.
there's nothing to feel sorry for.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing at all to feel sorry for. There's nothing going on over here that you
Yeah.
need to feel sorry for. I
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
make it do what it do the best way I know how.
Exactly.
And they're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry you had to go. Why? Why are
Yeah.
you sorry?
Yeah.
We all have to go through things. It
Yeah.
just
And not
means
only
that
that, some
my
of the
thing is
right,
different from your
right.
thing. That's it.
And I think that what they forget is the first thing, because I've told people over and over and over again, we all have challenges, and it depends on how you deal with your challenge, and
Mm-hmm.
it all depends on what you have. I would never discard the fact that there are some people with, physical challenges, mental challenges, and then there are some people that in the middle of them having it all, they gain a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
That something comes along and alters what they thought was the perfect living or the perfect life or the
right,
perfect,
right,
whatever.
right, right,
So we have to understand that taking something on and discovering who you are in the midst of it
Mm-hmm.
is the best. I
yeah,
remember, someone saying, "Oh, don't push your child to do this and don't push your child to do that." And I had to explain to them, if the child hadn't asked for it, I wouldn't have given it to them. You ask a
right,
question, I give you an answer.
right,
Mm-hmm.
You ask, can I try this? I'm going to allow you to try it. As long as there's no dangers in it.
right,
The root of education begins with the question. The root
right,
of, or the try. Let me try this.
right,
If they want to try to run, hey, just because one leg is shorter than the other doesn't mean that they can't run.
right.
You know,
And that's what I
allow.
tell parents too. Allow
Mhm.
them the opportunity to try. Well,
Right.
they got this going on. Okay,
Yeah.
trust me, they are
Mhm.
just as aware of that as you are. Okay,
Right.
they are
Mm-hmm.
just as aware of what they
Mm-hmm.
got
What they
going
can
on
do and what they
Yeah.
as
can't
you
do.
are.
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
look, if they fall off the bike, one or two things are going to happen. One, they're going to say, okay, you know what, I don't want to do it anymore. Or
Yeah.
two, they're going to get back and try again,
Yeah.
and they're going to keep trying until they stop falling
Right.
off.
And
Right.
it's funny that you
That
say
part.
that. My granddaughter, she might have been about maybe 7.
Mm-hmm.
And my son brought the bike and he put the bike in the car and he brings her to our house and she's gonna ride the bike. And we lived in a complex where she could ride without a lot of traffic or anything. And she had the training wheels on and she was fine as long as the training wheels are training wheels. When
Right,
you become more balanced, those training
Mm-hmm.
wheels begin to be lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
right,
So now we're riding, taking her with the bike, and we take the bike out. The next time she visited, take the bike out and tell her, "Come on, we're going to ride on the bike." And she said, "That thing wobbles." And I said, "Well, you've got to learn how to
you got to
ride
learn
it."
how to balance
She,
yourself.
she said, "No, it had 4 wheels." So I said, "Yeah,
But
but
what happened to the other two wheels?
you don't keep the other 2 wheels
Mm-hmm.
on it. By now, you should be able to ride it with just the 2 wheels."
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Gma, walk that thing back to the house." and she's now
Mhm.
she's now
But that is
17. Yes, she's now
Mhm.
17 and she's asking, can she learn how to ride again? And I told her,
oh
well, yeah,
wow.
but
But
the
you
thing
know,
is,
I have a similar story like that with my daughter. My
mhm,
daughter had a bike. She had a Hello Kitty bike. It was a pretty pink and white Hello Kitty bike. And her father at the time went, now not her, her father just goes overboard sometimes, but that's the end of it. Her father went and got her father went and got her the head, the helmet, the knee
yes,
pads,
everything
the
Hello Kitty.
elbow pads.
Yes.
I mean, the child was in a full armor trying to ride the bike. I said, well, I don't think she could ride with all that on, but okay, we'll see what happens. So she gets out there on the bike. And I can't remember if it had training wheels on it or not. I think at this point, because at this point, by the time she decided she wanted to try to ride it, she was too tall for the training wheels. So the training wheels had to come off. So
Mhm.
she's out there on the bike and she gets going and she starts pedaling and she starts wobbling here and there and
Mhm.
she falls. She gets back up. She gets back on it. She falls again. She said, Mommy, I keep falling off this bike.
Mhm.
I said, well, yeah, that's kind of what's going to happen until you learn how to ride. But I don't like to fall.
Mhm.
I said, well, we all are going to fall. I said, there's going to
Mhm.
be times in your life when
Yeah.
you're going to fall. That's
Yeah.
just
Mhm,
life. That's
Yeah.
just a part of learning. I said,
Mhm.
and if
mhm.
you never fall, then you never learn.
Never
You
Yeah.
never
learn.
learn
That's
how to
right.
get back
Yeah.
up and
That's
get
Mhm.
back
right.
on the bike. I
That's
said, so
right.
you have to fall.
Yeah.
I said, she was
Mhm.
like, so I gotta fall to learn? I said, yeah, you got I mean, in her mind, it didn't make sense. I mean, she gave me this very puzzled look like,
Yeah.
Mommy, that don't make sense. Why
Right.
I gotta
Right.
fall and
Right.
hurt my knee and stick
Hurt
my
Yeah.
my
heel
knees, my elbows. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn?
Mhm.
I was like, baby, that's all a part of the process.
Mhm.
I
Yes.
said, it's a part of
Yes.
the process. I said,
Mhm.
if you never fall, then how do you expect to learn how to ride the bike? Well,
Mhm.
mommy, can I just get on and just start pedaling?
And just
I said,
pedal and just
no,
pedal and
no.
go.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I said, no, baby, that's not how this works. That's not
Mhm.
how life works. You don't
Let me
just get
ask you
on
this.
and start
Do
pedaling.
you,
No.
yes. Do you find a difference in the allowance of not so much the teachers, but the parents and the community, the support team that's beyond the family? Do
Mhm.
you find that there's a treatment of difference with females
Yes.
with disability and males with
Mhm.
disability?
Not so much a difference with females and males, but I
Mhm.
find that there's a difference in the sense of allowing them to fall.
Mhm.
Mm, mm-hmm,
Allowing them to fall.
Mhm.
And they are so afraid to let them fall.
Mhm.
Because
mm-hmm,
they feel like somehow it's going to damage them if
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
they fall. If they fall, if they get told no,
Mhm.
if they
mm-hmm,
somehow face some sort of a
Mhm.
negative thing, it's going to
mm-hmm.
somehow damage them, and it's going
Mhm.
to damage them unrepairably.
Now, what about the
And
ones that are mislabeled?
now those children, that's a different situation. That's a different category because a
Right.
lot of times
Mm-hmm.
when you find a child that is mislabeled, that child was labeled based off of not really having a relationship with the child. That was
Okay. Now,
based off of
do you find that the child adapts to whatever that label is simply because they've
yes,
been labeled that way?
yes, yes. I have a little boy in my classroom right now, and let me show you how this works. This works at a young child. This little boy is 3, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and he already cognitively understands that his grandmother treats him like he's broken.
Oh
Mm,
wow.
She
mm,
treats him like he's broken,
Mhm.
like
mm-hmm,
he's like there's something wrong with him.
Mhm.
And does
mm-hmm,
he have some autism there? Yes. Is he on the spectrum? Yes.
Mhm.
Does he have some things going on? Yes. I've been bored of that. But is
Mhm.
he broken? No. Can he
Right.
comprehend? Yes. Does he understand? Yes. How do I
Mm-hmm.
know? I work with him every day.
Wow. Very.
And
Mm.
I get on, and I have to get on his level, look
Mm-hmm.
him in the eye, and
Mm-hmm.
say, I am not playing with you.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I said, get over there and sit down. You
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
understand what I am saying. Don't pretend like you don't, because I know that you do.
Yeah.
Go over there and have a
Mm-hmm.
seat.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And, oh, okay. Oh, all right, come on, honey. No,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not about to talk to you like that because
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Mhm.
sense of, nothing wrong with you in the sense of you can't comprehend.
You can't
Right.
comprehend,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying. You're just
Mm-hmm.
being stubborn in this instance and
Yeah.
doing
Mhm.
what you want to do. And a
Yeah.
lot of times we can't, well, not we can't, but we don't separate the disability from their personality. There
Mm-hmm.
are
Oh, okay.
times when
Yeah.
Mhm.
they are just being just straight stubborn. They
Uh-huh.
understand what you're saying. They know what you're saying, but they decide, I don't want to do it.
Right.
So I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
sit
Mhm.
here and I'm going to play dumb.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Mhm.
going to sit here and I'm going to pretend like I don't hear her.
Right.
I don't see what
Mhm.
she's telling me to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to run the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I'm going to go dump all the toys out because I don't want to clean up.
Mhm.
You understand very well what I'm saying
Yes.
to you.
Yes.
You get it.
Right.
You hear
So,
me.
in other words,
Mm-hmm.
we're in some cases, or in those cases, the person who is considered to be the nurturer is allowing bad behavior
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
overcome learning behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they learn to be bad because
Right.
they right. Okay.
And
So
they learn that they can get away with that
right,
Yeah.
because I
right,
have a
right,
disability, so
Yeah.
I can go and check the store. Or I
right,
have a disability, so I can go and talk to people and be rude. I
Mm-hmm.
right,
have a
right.
disability, I don't have to use my manners. I have
Mm-hmm.
a
So
disability, I can just take what I want.
right,
Uh-huh.
right. So we have to learn how to teach those lessons
Right.
that separate that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only separate that, but in other words, we don't bow down to
Mm-hmm.
No.
bad behavior.
We have
Yeah.
clear,
Right.
defined, and in my classroom, because I have about four of them that are like that. We have clear, defined boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you can do. You know what you can't do. You know what
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to do. You know what you're not supposed to do. Now, every
Mhm.
now and again, I'll be nice and I'll remind you. But for the most part, you know what you're supposed to do. You know
Mm-hmm.
how you're supposed to behave. You
Mm-hmm.
know you don't go running down this hallway. You know you don't come
Mhm.
out this classroom without me.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mhm.
know this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other day, three of them decided when we went outside, they decided they wanted to take off the other direction instead of going where I told them to go.
Mm-hmm.
I calmly got up, went over there and got them. I said, now guess what? You guys don't get to play. You guys get
Mm-hmm.
to sit here. You get to sit
Mhm.
here because you know you do not run down there without a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You know that that is not where I told you to go. So
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You two are going to sit here for 3 minutes. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to set the timer for 3 minutes. When the timer goes off, you can get up and go play. But you
Mm-hmm.
know better. So you're going to give me 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And
Yeah.
then they get up, I put them right back there.
Mm-hmm.
Restart the timer. They get up, put them right back there. No,
Yeah.
you're going to sit here for 3 minutes because
Mm-hmm.
Right,
you know better.
Right.
right.
Right. Right. Now, are you in public education or private or
I'm in private education.
okay? Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because the politics play different, you
Well,
know.
see, you know what? It wasn't for
Mhm.
me. It
No,
wasn't for
no,
me.
I'm just saying that what a lot of people, and see, I was one of those parents too. If you
Mm-hmm.
call me in to take care of something that's going on in the school,
Mm-hmm.
that means it's not an educational problem
Mm-hmm.
because they know they're here for their education.
Sure.
Okay. So if you call me in as the parent, this
Uh-huh.
is a discipline problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking
Yeah.
care of the discipline, you take care of the education, and
Right.
together we make this pyramid so that this child can
Mm-hmm.
progress.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But what I'm hearing you say is that there are some parents that want to give into the
Yes.
behavior
Yes.
as opposed to correcting the behavior
Yes.
so that they
And
can
that's what
learn and
makes it
build from that.
right. And
And they
that's
want
what
to
makes
blame
it
it
so
on the
hard.
disability.
Right.
Right.
And that's what makes it so hard for teachers because teachers are no longer allowed to teach because
Right.
we're dealing with all of these different
Yeah.
behaviors that
Yeah.
we should not have to deal with.
That is
That
correct.
Mhm.
should be nipped in the bud at the
Hmm.
house.
Yeah.
That
Right.
is stuff that
Right.
y'all should be taking care of at the house.
Right.
Y'all should be
Right.
dealing with that at the house. That
Right.
should not be something that I have to deal with. I
Yeah.
should be
Hmm.
focusing on teaching them what they need to know to go to the next class. I can't
Exactly.
do that because I got to deal with you spazzing out because you can't get your way, or you deciding that because you can't have your way, you want to lay in the middle of the floor and kick and scream and
Right.
yell and holler.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, we all know that this is no big secret. That is not unique to the disability child.
No,
No, no, no,
no.
no, no, no. It's not. It's
Yeah.
not. But the thing about it is that
Mhm.
parents, and I don't want to keep coming down on parents. I really don't mean to do this. I really don't. But I'm just basing this on what I've seen. A
Yeah.
lot of times, parents confuse a temper tantrum with a meltdown.
Mhm.
A
Mm.
meltdown and a temper tantrum are two
Sure. Two different
entirely
things.
separate
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A meltdown
Mhm.
usually takes place when a child is overstimulated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that means there's something going on in that environment that's
Yeah.
overstimulating them.
Yeah.
It could be too loud. It could be too much chaos going on. It
Mhm.
could be their
Mm-hmm.
clothes.
Yeah.
It could be anything in that environment that's
Yeah.
overstimulating them.
Sure.
When you take a toy from a child and they
Mhm.
spaz out,
Yeah.
that's a sympathizer.
Right. Yeah.
That's a
Right,
Yeah.
right.
sympathizer.
Yeah,
And not
identify it for what it
overstimulating them,
is.
but the fact that you took a toy that they
Yeah.
wanted and
Mhm.
they don't like it, so they gonna spaz out in the floor.
Right.
And I just look at them and keep walking. I said, because this is not a meltdown. This is a temper tantrum. Believe me,
Mm-hmm.
I know the difference.
Mhm.
And I
Right.
keep, but I walk away. And
Mhm.
eventually they get up off the floor. They
Yeah.
wipe their face and they
Mhm.
come to me. I say, are you ready? Are you ready now?
Mhm.
Can we
Right.
talk now?
And
Yeah.
Okay, come
I
on, let's
think
go
that
do what I
I
do.
think that brings about the title of your book, the award-winning novel that you wrote.
Very
It's
good.
not what it looks like.
Mhm.
So a lot of times what we think is going on in the mind or in the world of the
Mhm.
challenged child because of a handicap or because of a diagnosis is not what we see. It's not what we see,
Mhm.
or we think, like you said, here I got a bad behind kid,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to label him as a child that has, some type of
Right. And
problem.
like I said, please don't get me wrong. There are children out there
Hmm.
that do have challenges in that area.
Sure.
But you have to be able to separate the challenge from the
Mhm.
Hmm.
child's
Yeah.
personality.
Mhm.
Separate the challenge from
Mhm.
who the child really is.
Mhm.
If the child
Hmm.
spazzes out because
Mhm.
he can't have a popsicle,
Yeah.
he's done had all that he needs to have.
Mhm.
He done ate all the food.
Mhm.
He asked you for a popsicle. You
Mhm.
told him no.
Mhm.
He spazzes out in the middle of the floor. That
Mhm.
ain't got nothing to do with no melting.
Mhm.
That got
Right.
everything to do with I want a popsicle and I want one
Mhm.
now. And you're telling me no,
And
and
not
I
only
don't
that,
like it.
I mean, you're teaching these little angels. You're teaching these
People,
lovely
these little
people.
people. Oh yeah.
But
Mhm.
my thing is, and
Mhm.
I said that because I taught
Mhm.
a couple of classes
Mhm.
to officers and teachers as well, where
Mhm.
I told them that could you tell me who are the number one manipulators?
Mhm.
And everybody always picks out, well, you got the businessman that's cheating you for your money, you got the banks that do
No,
this, and you got this
it's children.
politicians,
It's
and
children.
they never ever ever point to the children.
Right.
It's the children.
And then I
It's
tell
the
them,
children.
Mhm.
regardless to the challenges that they may have, and we're not talking about children that have physical crisis or anything.
Mhm.
We're talking about that beautiful angel that's laying in the middle of the crib,
Mhm.
who
That that
learns that all I have to do is go, ah,
Yeah.
and here
and
you
mommy
come
and
running with
daddy is
a
gonna run
bottle.
right to me
You're
and
running with
see what I want.
a bottle, the diaper, the toy,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
arm. You're gonna
Right.
cuddle me. You're gonna do,
Yeah.
and then
Mhm.
they get to be about, I say about maybe 8 months, if
Mhm.
they're still not in the manipulative mode.
Mm.
They about 8 months when they can sit up and peek to see if you're
Mhm.
coming.
Right.
And if you're not coming, they
Mhm.
get louder
Uh-huh.
and they cry more
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
because they're manipulative. And we seem to forget
Mhm.
that as we're bringing them
Mhm.
along the way. But tell us, how do we find the purpose in the pain that we're also going through?
Mm.
What as
Because
parents?
as parents, how do we find ourselves to be, because a lot of like you said, a lot of the teachers are overwhelmed, but we
Mhm.
also have a lot of parents that are overwhelmed
Yes.
when they have a child that's
Yes.
diagnosed. Some of them it's the understanding of the diagnosis, some of them it's just the fact that they've got other children,
Yeah.
some of them it's because they don't really know, how do I handle this, and they
Right.
don't really trust the
Mhm.
system all the
Right.
time.
Right.
So
Right.
how do they find purpose in their pain?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
what what do you suggest they do?
Well,
Mhm.
a lot of times, and I've talked to parents, I've talked to burnt out parents, I've talked to parents that, and actually, the funny thing about this is, that is how I got into this, talking to parents.
Mm.
I've been teaching, close to 20 years, and I've had many, many, many different children come to my classroom,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and I've had parents that will walk in on a Monday morning, and they look like they have gotten no sleep. Like
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
none.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just handing their child to me like, here, take her, take her,
Mhm.
because I don't know what else to do. Take her.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I say, okay. I take my teacher hat off and I say, okay, look. I said, you look like you have been through the ranks. She said, I
Mhm.
have.
Mhm.
She said, I don't know what else to do. I am at my wits end. I don't know how to deal with her. I don't know how to communicate with her. You
Mhm.
know, my house looks crazy because all
Yeah.
she does is run through and tear up stuff and this, that, and the third. I
Mhm.
said, well, I said, what it sounds to me is you've got to take your power back.
Mhm.
I said,
Mm-hmm.
you've allowed your 4-year-old,
Mhm.
your 4-year-old autistic child
Boy. Wow.
to run your house.
Yeah.
I said, so when you decide you want to take your power back
Yeah.
from your
Right.
4-year-old, then you
Right.
won't look like that. You won't feel like that. You
Yeah.
gotta not be afraid to tell her no.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
she's gonna spaz out, baby. She gonna have a whole melt, a
Right.
whole second chance in the
Right.
middle of that floor because she's
Mhm.
never heard you tell her no before.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
when she does that, you kindly remove her to a safe spot so she
Mhm.
can do all the kicking and screaming and wailing she wants to do.
So in
Mhm.
other words, what I'm hearing you say is you go from the suckling stage,
Mm.
the caressing stage,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the nurturing stage to the you've got to grow up.
Mm.
right. And that's
You've got to
important.
teach them to grow up.
That is, oh my gosh, you have no idea how important that is. And
Mm.
I try to horn in that with my parents because,
Yeah.
and I tell them this all the time, and they don't believe me, but it's the truth. You're
Yeah.
not going to be here forever.
Right.
Right.
That
There's going to
part.
Right.
be a
That.
day and hour
Mhm.
that you're going to close your eyes and you're
Mhm.
no longer going to be here with
Yeah.
us.
Right.
It's
Right.
going to be a sad day for everybody, but it's
Yeah.
going to be an even sadder day for your child.
Right.
Why? Because your child does not know how to operate in
Without
society.
you.
Yeah.
And that's for
Yeah,
any
right.
child. And
Yeah,
that's
Right,
for
that
any
is.
right.
child.
And I tell,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
especially difficult for children with disabilities
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, they have to learn life in a different way
Sure they
than
do.
what
Right.
your typical child has to learn
Right.
life. Like,
Right.
for example, I used to do independent living skills before I did what I'm doing now. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to go and I used to teach, they're still children. They were like 17, 18 years old. They were getting ready to graduate from high school and
Mm-hmm.
they want to, branch out on their own. Had some that were going to college, but had never lived on their own before.
Yeah.
So they didn't know how to use the ATM.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know how to wash their clothes. They didn't know how to cook. They didn't know how to turn the stove on. So these are things that while they were in their teenage years, I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
12, 13, 14 years old,
Right.
Yeah.
that's what mom and dad should have been teaching them. And that right
Mhm.
there is what they should have been teaching them from at home. See, that's the problem. They wait for the school to do it. You need to start doing that at
Right.
Mhm.
10, 11, 12 years old. How to wash your clothes,
And that's
how to
regardless
sort
to
your
if they
clothes.
have a disability or not.
Well,
Regardless
even
if
Right.
that's true, regardless. But what I'm saying is,
Mhm.
for disabled children, it's a little different
A little
because
different. That's right.
Right.
yes, because they there are going to be some lessons that they're going to need more be taught more intently
Mhm.
right.
on
And
versus an
plus,
able-bodied child.
plus,
So
the way society will look at them anyways, first being disabled and not wanting to really, give them,
the
any
change, right?
now, now if they are, out of control and want to be coddled and all of this and think that,
Mhm.
everybody is supposed to bow down and just, you know, just cater to them, that's not gonna work. And then
No,
Mm-mm.
if
it's
you're
not. It's
more of
not.
a target for the bullying, for the less compassionate, because of that, right? So
Right.
the parents really need to have an understanding of that. Is that for unfortunately for your child to be accepted, they really have
They
to,
really need to be on top of things as
right?
much as
Yeah,
they
and
can.
you know what? I don't really look at it
Mm-hmm,
from an accepting point
mm-hmm,
of view. I look
mm-hmm.
at it from a survival point of
Yeah,
view.
yeah,
You
Mm.
have to, these are
Mhm.
the things that you have to
sure.
know
Mm-hmm,
in order to survive.
mm-hmm.
You have
Right.
to know, look, my mama was hard on me,
Yeah.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
I remember one thing in my home. No, well, not no. I can't. I can't
Yeah.
with a cuss word.
Uh-huh.
She
Right.
would never,
Right.
even to this day,
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
say I can't do something,
Uh-huh.
oh, that woman is so mad. That was a cuss word in my house.
Oh
I
wow.
can't. No,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
better not dare say what I can't do.
Mm.
And she would tell
Mhm.
me, yes, you might struggle with it.
Right.
Yes, it might take you a minute to do it. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you might need a little extra help, but
Right.
you can get it done.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And the whole I can't was never something that was allowed in my airspace.
Yeah.
It was never something that was allowed to even
Mm-hmm.
come out of my mouth. I
Uh-huh.
can't.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
feel like put that, when we instill that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
If we instill that in children with disabilities at a
Mm-hmm.
young age, they
Mm-hmm.
will grow up to think, okay, you know what? Yes, it's hard. Yes,
Yeah.
I struggle. Yes, I have challenges, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to say I can't do it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I just put up on the screen the fact that you have the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, The Inconvenience of Disability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that those that have children or have
Mm-hmm.
questions or tune in,
Mm-hmm.
tune in and find out what's going on. Not only tuning into her podcast, but tune into the school. Find out
Mm-hmm.
what your school is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what your community is doing. Find out what the extras are. Find out, well, how do I get some of these things done?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Find out what's going on because, like Latria has said, you ain't gonna be here all the time.
Right.
Everybody's not going to turn a soft eye and allow your child to just do or be
Right.
able to do.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said before we close out is I can do the hard stuff. I take my pain and use it to push me to my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So when we teach this, like you said, the word can't is just not something that should be in the vocabulary at all.
No.
It can be, I'm going to work towards that can. We want to
Right.
work towards that can.
That's a goal. That should be a goal. And
Right.
if by chance, and I always like to put this in perspective, if by chance the word can't does find its way in your vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
your goal should always be to make it to that I can.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
that's should be the goal of the parent as well. It should be
Yeah.
the goal of the parent to say, today you can't, but tomorrow you will.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you will. Come on now. Come on now.
Today
Yeah.
you can't, but tomorrow you
But
will.
tomorrow you will.
Today you can't, but I'm waiting for the day that you can.
Yeah.
Right.
Giving that
And
encouragement.
even me, there are times when I had to give myself that pep talk.
Sure.
I had to stand there, look in the mirror, and say, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Whew, this is difficult right now. It's
Right.
hard. It's
Mhm.
difficult. It's not comfortable. Not something that I really desire to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not always going to be like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not always going to be like this. This is gonna come a day and time when this is not going to be what it is right now.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And we've got to learn to overcome mentally
Right.
so that we can
And just
overcome
start
the
with just that self-talk, that
Mhm.
self-talk, and,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
talking and feeding yourself with that positivity. And to my parents, I want to say this:
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to say you need help.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Don't be afraid to say,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm over here on this ship, and this ship is about to go down,
Yes.
and I don't want to go
Yes.
down with it. So I need a
No.
life jacket, a life preserver,
Well, not
and a
only that, but
helicopter."
look, I don't want to have to jump and tell y'all where the boat is.
Okay.
I don't want to have to jump and
I
tell
don't
y'all
want
that
to do that now.
they still out there in the water, but I swam to the shore.
And don't
Okay.
wait till it gets to the breaking point. Don't wait till
Okay.
it.
And the thing about it is, I see so many, I hear so many stories about
Mhm.
parents that got to that point
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
that just was so overwhelmed with it.
Yeah.
Because I have a child. My daughter is 19,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a disability. She has ADHD. She has depression. She deals with a lot of mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And from one parent to another,
Mhm.
baby, this ain't an easy trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an easy trip.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
when parents come to me and say, I'm tired,
Mhm.
I'm tired, I understand. So there have been nights, and my current husband can tell you, there have been nights when I walked the floor with her. There have been
Mhm.
nights when I had to just get in the bed and just rock and hold her and rock
Mhm.
and hold her. And I've been to work all day, okay? I'm
Mhm.
dead dog tired, okay? I've been to work
Yeah.
dealing with other people's kids,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then I come home and my daughter's in the middle of an emotional crisis.
Mm.
So I gotta go in there and I gotta attend to her.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. I get it.
Mhm.
But I also understand that you have to be able to, one, say when you need help.
Mhm.
Two, not afraid to take that help.
Sure.
Now that part I'm still working.
Mm-hmm.
That part I'm still working
Mhm.
on. Three,
Mhm.
know when you need some time to yourself.
Right.
Know when
Mm-hmm.
you need to step
Mhm.
back and say, okay, you know what? Right now,
It's not
I
a
need
good
to
time.
step back.
Right.
I need 5 minutes. And I
Mhm.
do this even now at work. I tell
Mhm.
my kids this. I'm like, you know what? Because they call me Miss L at work. I said, you know what? Miss L needs a timeout.
Mhm.
You gotta go to timeout. I said yes. I said
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
I said yes. I said Miss L needs to
Mhm.
sit over here for 3 minutes. She
Mhm.
needs to just sit here. I said, and she would really love it
Mhm.
if you didn't call her name for
Mhm.
3 minutes.
Mhm.
3 whole minutes? I said, I know. I know it sounds like a lifetime to you guys. I know. I get it. I understand. I
Mhm.
said, but just 3 minutes. And so and
Mhm.
I'll go off by myself for
Mhm.
3 minutes and just, whew, okay,
Yeah.
let me get it
Yeah.
together. Whew,
Well,
let me get it together.
you're leading into our final question,
Yes, she is.
which is what uh, Felice does well,
Oh.
and she does this with every guest.
Mhm.
So Felice
Yeah.
asked Miss Russ
Okay,
that
yes,
a
Mister.
dynamic final question.
Well, I always have a couple things to say before I get to it. But first of all, I think your name is beautiful. So
Oh,
it's
thank
a beautiful
you.
name, yeah, and a
Thank
beautiful
you.
person and soul. So thank you
Oh,
for all
thank
that you are.
you.
You are so welcome. No, but thank you, truly is that. And I always want to thank you and give honor to not only God but you for using the gifts that God has given you to share to the world. So thank you for that. Thank you
You
because
are
Mhm.
it's
so welcome. You are to
so
God be all the
necessary.
glory. This look, I tell everybody this ain't me.
Well, there
This is
you
the
go.
God in
Mhm.
me.
But
Mhm.
I could
but
not be doing this for myself.
but first and foremost, let me bow to you and say thank you for your service. Because I
Mhm.
tell all educators, especially teachers in this day and age, baby,
Mhm.
because
Thank you.
you said can't be in your vocabulary. Well, my granddaughter, when she was really little bitty, I was asking her something, and she kept telling me no, Nana, no, Nana, and I was like, why? Just something because she never would tell me no or something like that.
Right.
And she was all of maybe three. And I was like, why, Jada, why? And so she's like, because I can't want to. So I was like, oh, baby,
Can't want to.
I
I
can't
can't
want
want
to. I
to.
cannot want to. That was
I
the
cannot want
perfect,
to.
I can't
And it
want
was
to.
you understood that though, didn't you? Mhm.
Oh yeah. I
So,
know you understood.
so when it comes to teaching, I can't want to.
I can't
Mm,
want to.
Can't want
mm,
Oh gosh. You know what? Look, I'm gonna put that on a shirt, and I'm gonna
to.
split the proceeds with you.
Yes, I
Okay?
can't want to.
I
That's
Yes,
can't
right.
yes,
want to.
yes.
I can't want to.
Yeah, so
I can't want to.
and that comes up time and time again, and even now in really in my later adult life, I look at that and I'm like, that's just perfect. I can't want to. I
I
cannot.
can't want to.
I can't want to. Okay, but my question to you, and again, thank you so much for serving in such a way, and Ken wanting to do that.
Right, and wanting to do it. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, but all that you do and all that you give, as a child of God, that He tells us to serve from our overflow. But we know that our cup runs a little bit dry time and again. So what, Miss Russ, do you do to fill your cup?
Whew. Um, I pray. I pray. Every morning I get up. In the process of dressing and getting myself ready to walk out the door,
Mhm.
I pray. And not only do I pray for myself, that God continue to replenish my cup to allow me to continue to do this
Mhm.
because He has to. Because Lord knows, and I say it all the time, but I'm 100% honest about this. If He doesn't,
Yeah.
then I can't.
Right.
Mhm. Okay.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
so
Mhm.
I pray that He continues to give me the strength, the knowledge, the tenacity to want
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
do this.
Sure.
But then after I pray for myself, well, no,
Mhm.
I take that wrong order. I
Mhm.
pray for my kids.
Mm.
I pray for each and every child in my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that they come in with a willing spirit
Yeah.
and a willing heart.
Mm-hmm.
And because I mean, we said a lot tonight, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when all is said and done, they're
Mm-hmm.
just kids.
Yes.
They're just children.
It
And they're
is.
just trying to learn like they're just trying to learn.
Yep.
And they're going to make
Mhm.
mistakes. They're going
Mm-hmm.
to do things wrong. They're
Yeah.
going to do things that we don't really like sometimes. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, they're children, and
Yeah.
that is how they learn. So
Absolutely.
I pray and I pray for them, and I pray for the grace to always keep that in the forefront
Mm-hmm.
of my mind. That
Awesome.
they're just children.
Yeah.
They're just children.
Yeah.
But outside of praying, I also listen to music.
Uh-huh.
I love music. Music is a big part of my life. I love music. And with my
Awesome.
husband being a DJ, that
Mm-hmm.
that that helps
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh good.
Um, I watch movies.
Mm-hmm.
I just there's some days I just go to bed. I just
Right.
go to
Right.
sleep. I ain't even gonna lie to you. My
Yes.
favorite place in my house is my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is my favorite. My bedroom and my bed.
Mm-hmm. I
Well,
love
we want to thank you. We want to thank our audience for
it. Yeah.
joining in. We want you all to love on her. Love on her. She's on Facebook. She's on all social media sites. Love on her, and let's lift her in
Mhm.
prayers.
But
On
when's
a
your podcast? What days of the week?
Oh,
Is
okay.
it
So
soon?
that is in the works now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me see. What is today? What is today? That's the 20th. Oh, that's past
Honey,
Tuesday.
okay.
Okay. I will be I will be releasing more information about that shortly
Okay.
Right.
because
So
that is in the works.
Okay.
yes, so look for the information because I believe that all of us, not just the teachers, not just the doctors,
Mhm.
not just the family members, we all need to know how to deal with disabilities and how to
That's
deal with
right.
the education of those
Hmm.
that have disabilities or how to deal
Mhm.
with them because you
Yeah.
may very well be working with someone that has a disability
Sure.
or
Hmm.
living next to someone that has a
Mhm.
disability. So,
Hmm.
Miss Russ, we want to thank you. We want to thank you. We want to thank you. We want to thank you for being a part of our podcast,
Mhm.
IPIN Visions, and we work together to build a network of connections so that people can join in and say, hey, we saw so and so on, can we get that number, can we get that information, because we have that, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to
Sure.
open up connections. So we want to thank you and wish you the best. Continue your work because without people like you, hey, we're going to lose some people along the way because that ship is going to sail regardless that we on it or not.
If we on it or not, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
That's right.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Want to say good
Yeah.
night, good evening to all of our audience, and have a great week. See
Yeah.
you next
Thanks
week.
for
All right.
watching.
Bye.
Awesome. 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 Yes.